G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to be flipping through my Bare Necessities Art Journaling the Magic Fall 2020 Retreat Little Golden Book Journal. This is my Jungle Book cover, and this came with my deluxe kit that I got as well. There's a supplemental deluxe kit that you could get alongside the retreat. It came with tons of stickers and ephemera, and it even came with where's my little washcloth? This beautiful little matching washcloth that you could use for your paintbrushes, a watercolor set as well, the Jungle VIP Lost Girl watercolor set. I don't believe any of these are still available, but just wanted to let you know that this was a part of the kit as well, just in case next year's retreat has a kit as well and you wanted to see some of the stuff that was in there. I'm just going to preface this whole thing by saying I'm bringing to you very, very strong seasonal allergies, and I may be sneezing throughout the video. I might even take a moment to blow my nose, and I will be keeping all of that in. Like, I'm not going to edit it because I've got so much to say, and I just want to be able to go through this as if you're sitting here with me and I'm just showing you my journal. I've literally cancelled this intro like 6 times already, trying to keep myself together, and it's just not going to happen today, folks. So let's just enjoy the flip, and let's pretend like you really are sitting across the table from me. Well, don't, because I guess in these times I wouldn't be sneezing at you. I guess that leads me right into a really good segue. This is online. This was the online version of Art Journaling the Magic, which is kind of new. We've done it with the Wizarding Artists Society, which is still under the umbrella of Art Journaling the Magic, but for the specific Disney retreats, usually they're at Walt Disney World or Disneyland in Anaheim. And I go to the ones in Anaheim because they literally live 5 minutes down the road. Steve is an employee of the parks, and so I'm kind of always there anyway whenever I've got a spare chance. And I've been doing that for a couple years now and have absolutely loved it. If you've never heard me rave on about Art Journaling the Magic before, you have missed out, because I have a lot of good and exciting things to share about it all the time. But yeah, this was online, so very, very different kind of experience. And I will just say before we start, hang on, excuse me. Goodness. I'll say before I start, I am not going to go through like the pros and cons of doing it online and doing it in person. Like, I'm not giving a review of the experience or anything. I'll always try and find the absolute best out of any of those experiences. I think that's kind of the point of doing a lot of the retreats that you do. I don't think anyone really goes in expecting to be super critical or go in and give a harsh review. But also, as someone that has again pivoted to the online space with my own retreats like Virtual Voyage number 1 and 2, I will say, from going through those experiences, I have learned that there is a lot to be thankful for about doing these things in person, but there's also a lot to be thankful for about doing them at home and online. And I'm not going to share all those things with you, but I'm just going to let you know that much. I had a really, really wonderful time. I like this kind of phrase that we had in Tokyo Disney when we used to work there. We kind of got an info packet before we left, and they would say, working in the East is very different to working in the West. And just remember, you're here to do a job, and that culturally, things are really different here. Try not to see them as better or worse, just think of them as different. And it truly was. I mean, some things you would assume were worse because they just weren't as good as what you remember back in your home. But then when you fit them in the context of society or the culture or the environment, it made sense. And, because it made sense, it necessarily wasn't bad. It was good that it made sense, but it was just different. It was a different piece of a different puzzle. So that's what I'm going to try and encourage you to think about with these online retreats, especially this year. I even found myself, I'm going to go super personal here, but most of this is pretty personal, so get into it. I actually found myself this year kind of thinking, I can't wait for it all to be over so that we can go back to what I remember. And even though I don't believe there's much wrong with it, I think it's quite a natural human thought to have. When I was specifically thinking about Art Journaling the Magic, I was like, well, I can't wait until we can go back and do it in person and we don't have to worry about online anymore. And then I thought of everyone that I had encountered that otherwise would not have had the opportunity to be involved with these retreats, and how sad it would be if that's the message that I was putting across, that I can't wait to get rid of the one thing you're actually excited about. because you can be involved. So I'm not talking to you, like the proverbial you. Do you know what I mean? There were people in situations I hadn't even considered, which is ridiculous because I have also been in some of those situations, and it was it was a really interesting learning experience to be able to validate that online retreats have just as much of a wonderful purpose as in-person retreats, and that there are so many pros and so many cons to both, but we always just focus on the pros, and this retreat was certainly not lacking in any. So that's all I'll leave you with. Let's get through it. Get to it. Wow, that sounded like I really didn't want to be here. Let's just get through it. All right, there's the journal. See you later. Bye. I'm not going to do a music only flip of this because this is almost finished, and I figured it would probably be better just to actually finish it and then do a music only, seeing as a lot of people just want to see the pictures. They don't understand if I'm not actually talking that some things aren't finished. I know I've done it before, but you know, I'll leave it with this one. This one's going to be just super chatty. So if you're not here for a super chatty journal flip, you have found yourself at the wrong channel. But I'm assuming those people have left already. All right, so here we go. Golden Book Journal. I love these. These are handmade as well. These beautiful signatures, full of Canson cold press watercolor paper, which is some of my favorite watercolor paper to work with. I don't treat any of these as precious. They are fun, whatever I want to throw in here, whatever I want to do. And I have many. I have a little collection of little Golden Book journals. So here is a photo of when I used to work at the parks. You'll notice a lot of these photos coming through the journal. It's not a, I'm not on some weird ego trip at the end of 2020. Like I said, this is going to be personal. A lot of what I went through during this experience was kind of working through some of my pain about not having kind of the life that I remember when I was a dancer at Tokyo Disneyland or for Disney Cruise Line. I know I worked for Royal Caribbean as well, but I specifically wanted to use this to go through a lot of those feelings and emotions, which is something I probably would not have done in person at the park. It's a little too vulnerable for me, but being at my desk, kind of, you know, I had all my community here. We were on the live streams together, but having that separation, you know, no one could really see what I was doing when they, you know, no one was looking over my shoulder or anything. Which, again, not a bad thing, but I just wouldn't be doing this kind of a deep kind of, almost like healing kind of journaling. I wouldn't be doing that at Disneyland. The experience would just be different. So that is something I really value in having done it at home, is that I had these 4 intentional days to sift through those memories and to experience the nostalgia and to actually kind of dive in and I guess validate some of the feelings that I usually set aside for another day, which, you know, I guess last week was the day. It was the 4 days. So anyway, front cover, some photos. We had these little collage pieces and stickers. I've used tons of the collage pieces and stickers. I drew my little watercolor palette here from the kit, the little Jungle VIP Lost Girl watercolor palette, and swatched it out with the actual paint, obviously. Here is some more of me swatching out the palette. I was getting used to it. It was relatively new to me when I started the course, and so I wanted to get used to it, and I was almost thinking of making the whole thing this color palette, but then I thought, why restrict myself? Like, that's so me. Gets into it, says, oh, I'm just going to be free. Why don't I only use 5 colors? Like, it was so stupid. And also, like, that's another thing about being at home, is that I had access to every single watercolor I have in this studio. So why would this be the time where I was like, maybe I'll just do it with this? That's what I need to do when I go to the parks. Anyway, it's good stuff to remember and reflect on. This was a little one-line contour drawing. Art Journaling the Magic is infamous for blind contour drawings and just contour drawings in general. It's where I learned how to do that and learned all the benefits of it. This one was pretty funny because we put the book up against our head and drew it. I thought I did a really good job. I was wearing my little Christmas hat that has a little Christmas hat on it. Very meta. And I put Michael Verman here. We had to name this little gremlin to kind of put him in the corner whenever we were feeling a little too precious about anything. So I don't know if anyone saw this on my Insta story, but Steve and I came up with alternative or kind of like generic names for Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. You know when you go on Etsy and you can't say like Elsa from Frozen, you have to say Ice Queen from Cold Movie. Like You know that? Steve and I came up with Michael Rodent and Minerva Vermin as Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, and we were just laughing so hard. I was laughing so hard I put it on my Insta story just to tell people. I don't think anyone really understood what I was talking about. But anyway, that's what I was talking about, and I called him Michael Vermin just to kind of reference that funny joke to me. That's what a lot of my art journaling is remember this because it was funny, or remember this because you'd probably forget it because it was such a minute detail, or wow, I'm having this triggering experience of a memory. Let's go through that. So if you are pausing to read on anything, some of it's just very factual or very just information based, but yeah, I don't think you're really going to find anything crazier than that. There's some personal stuff in here, so if you read that, please don't comment on it. But if there was anything you couldn't see, believe me, I wouldn't be flipping this journal on YouTube in 1080p. and slowly. That'd be like a really quick flip through. Anyway, here is the lettering lesson we did with April. April was guest teaching at the retreat as well, and taught us how to kind of bring the character to this bubble lettering. And we were doing adventure. The retreat was broken up into like 5 different categories: adventure, imagination, color, friends, and snacks. And so each one we kind of focused on that. We're supposed to do a doll from each. So this was my Peter Pan adventure doll, but I don't think I ended up finishing that. I just did a couple of them. And I got in a really Peter Pan mood. I don't even know why. Like, I don't know where that came from, but there's a lot of Peter Pan in here. So maybe it was because of Lost Girl watercolor, and I've just been thinking about it. Anyway, we did adventure, so Peter Pan kind of crosses that boundary, that path. That didn't make sense. Peter Pan is an adventure. And this was, I really love this technique, actually. I put that down to maybe look at a later date. This is Steve. This is my husband. This is where we met at Tokyo Disneyland. This is 2000. I think these photos are for him, or 2008, but we met there in 2009. This was the show he was doing called Mini O Mini, and I was out there doing a show called One Man's Dream 2. And so we both worked in Tokyo Disneyland and crossed each other's paths at that point all those years ago. And because we were doing adventure and I saw all this kind of fun lettering, it reminded me of the lyric. It was stuck in my head at that point where they say Minnie is the goddess of Adventureland. So that's why I did mine with a whole Mini O Mini flavor, which was great. Also kind of tied into my personal story. I really enjoyed that. I also like how I colored it. This is a page of, we did the gridding. This was also another one of the lessons. Pardon me for a second. Oh, I'm going to have to close that blind. Let me just close that blind for a second while you look at the page. Because it's going to leak in all this light. There we go. Hopefully that hasn't ruined the exposure. Good. Okay. This is the gridding lesson that we did with Tangi on the first day, and luckily, because it kind of flowed into the lesson that I was teaching as well. It's always a bonus when your brains seem to be connected, and there was a lot of that hive brain going on in Art Journaling the Magic with all the teachers last week. It was really funny. Anyway, here is, did I mention this was a 4-day retreat? It was 4 days last week, so this journal was bare 9 days ago. So this reflects 9 days of me being on an Art Journaling the Magic kick. Here are more of the photos. This one, Stella and I went to Japan last year, and then this is when I used to work there in 2011. Also, this was a page from my Disney fan magazine. I'll get one. Here it is. This is a Disney fan magazine. It's a Japanese publication, and I have many of these because I just love to look through it. It's really great because it's just packed full of imagery, not just of the park, but of anything related to the Tokyo Disney Resort, and all the merchandise as well, which is always so fun to look at and reference when I'm doing any of my Art Journaling the Magic stuff. But they have a new Fantasyland there with a new Beast Castle, so I did some of the turrets, and I thought I did a pretty good job. I actually drew this in pencil first. Don't be fooled. I know it looks like a contour drawing. I did it in pencil first, and then I did the contour over the pencil. It's what I like to call an assisted contour drawing. It's got the look of it. It's got the look of someone who really knows what they're doing with contour drawing, but it's 100% cheated. But I really like the look. And yeah, I put this little cluster of collage over here and some journaling. Did I mention? Oh yeah, this was from Memory to Memento. My travel journal workshop course, when Stella and I went there last year. So because it was in Tokyo, I printed out some of those photos. That was also another benefit of having my printer like right next to me, so I could print off photos whenever I needed them for all of my little nostalgic trips down memory lane. Here is face mapping. This was my lesson. This was just a composition page to look at some of the skills that we were looking at and talk about a lot of it. Some of the things that I would teach, like I actually taught the rest of the lesson in here too, but some of them are covered up. You'll see, here's some more of the, like the sketches when I'm teaching. I'll leave some of them in there, but some of them I've completely glued over because I just thought, I don't need that one, or I don't need 6 versions of this. But a lot of these you will see around because this was the lesson I taught. So I like to keep not only the lesson, but a lot of the inspiration for the lesson or the concept sketches for things around as well. It's all a part of the process, so I document all of it. So you see a lot of these pop up throughout the journal, and that's just because that's what I taught. Here are some photos I had from Pixar Pier, which I thought came in handy as well. If I've got anything lying around that fits the theme, I'll put it in there. Team with the theme. This is packaging from sticker packs. I love that I can get the stickers used, but I can also use the packaging as well. It would be trash, but if you put it in your journal, it's not. And it's a great way to get double use out of all this. Like, these are cute little images. Why not have them in my journal? I ripped up the backing of those cards and separated them, and then put a little post-it note in here just for some extra decoration, because these are my Disney post-its. And then some photos, and I just journaled about it. And I really love this kind of column of broken up, like, little pieces. It's almost like a little mosaic, but it is it's photos, journaling, and ephemera. It's kind of like the holy grail, the trio, right? The trio of successful items for art journaling. Well, there's more than that, but usually you can get a lot done with a photo and journaling and ephemera. I guess that's scrapbooking, isn't it? Let's move on. This is a part of the snacks lesson that Britt taught. I loved that, and I thank you to whoever came up with the idea to do the retro, the vintage popcorn bucket, because I would never have thought of that. I was actually thinking of doing one of the ones from Tokyo, but truth be told, I used so many Tokyo references already. That was really interesting, because if I was in Disneyland, I'd obviously be inspired and kind of influenced by my direct, like, immediate surroundings. But because I was at home, I could choose. Like, whenever I'd Google a reference, or especially because I have my Disney fan magazines, I would just flip through those. My references all ended up becoming other parks, and typically Tokyo Disney, because that's the one I've been connected to. But it was good because it kind of sparked a lot of that journaling and triggered a lot of those memories, which is that personal experience that I wanted to go through. I wanted to be able to work through a lot of those emotions, or kind of validate a lot of those feelings, and just be really intentional about getting deep and personal with myself. So it's not unusual that happened for me, but it's not like I would recommend anyone else do that. But I guess we all had the option to choose which Disney we were thinking of this retreat, so that's pretty funny. This is a photo of my family when they came to visit one of my contracts. This is my first trip to Disneyland. That's my sister. We waited hours in line to get on that stupid ride. Now I like to ride it by myself. And I don't wait hours. If I just see the line down, I'll just go. But yeah, I was 15 there. Wow. So thin. Had not finished going through puberty. I'm sure that was an obvious statement, but just talking to myself there, giving myself apparently a justification for why I'm not that thin anymore. This is when I used to work on Disney Cruise Line, and we did character greetings, and this is me with the boss. And in my night greeter uniform, I actually kind of liked that uniform, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, this is another part of the lessons. Tanji taught this one, I think. These were stickers that came with the ephemera packs, and then a lot of splashing and dripping of paint. That's always fun to do. This was just random bits and pieces that came together. We were making these dolls for each different land. So the Adventureland one was, I did Peter Pan, and for Fantasyland I was doing, I guess they weren't lands. It was adventure, imagination, right? All the different categories. This one was for imagination, but I don't think I did anyone after this one, because I wasn't really feeling it. which is fine. It has nothing to do with the dolls or the image or the activity. Sometimes I think it's important when you're doing these retreats, especially someone that makes them, because I'll tell you where I come from, and I didn't make Art Journaling Magic, but when I did Virtual Voyage, I make sure that I present all the things that I'm most excited by, or that I would definitely want to sit down and do, but I never think that anyone out there is going to like 100% of what I'm putting forward. And so I'll always give things a go, but if I just don't feel it as much as something else, I will typically go with whatever I'm feeling instead of. And I don't feel any shame in that. It's never because I don't like, it's never because I hate it. Do you know what I mean? It's not a bad thing. It's just that something else feels like more of a creative frenzy for me that I would be enjoying and that I would stick out for longer, that I would enjoy more or have more success with. So it's never usually a reflection of like, the actual lesson or the person giving the lesson. It's usually just my own feelings about what I want to be doing. And so the dolls for me were kind of just not really what I was feeling throughout the experience, but I still gave them a go. I think it's important to give it a go, but also it's important to chase down whatever you're excited about. And I don't know, I think Tanji would agree with me on that, but yeah, so I don't want you to think that I like gave up on it because I hated it. If I hated something, I just wouldn't do it outright, which is, to be honest, my own detriment, because I said I would hate one-line contour drawings when I first started, and now I do them all the time. So that's why I do try and give it a go, and a really good go, before I move on to something else. Anyway, part of the memory, part of the experience. I still like how she turned out. I ripped up a piece of paper bag to make her dress out of. And then this was just some random journaling. I did a lesson on playtest 2. I don't know if it was really a lesson, more so it was just content. But when I did playtest 2, I went to Disneyland and did a Disney in Detail video where I went around the park and gathered all these different shapes. Like I needed a certain amount of squares and circles and rectangles. And so I would find whatever was in the park that was circular, like the face of the Small World clock. And I would draw it all individually, and then I made up a whole castle with the shapes. This was the mock-up for that lesson. That's such a long-winded way of saying what this is. But there's a point to it looking the way it does, even though it's a scribble. And if you're trying to make sense of it, the real one exists in Playtest 2, which I still have those bundles on Teachable. I was thinking about removing them, but then I thought, why? Like, there's no point. The content is still good. Some of it's dated, but things like that in there are still in there. So I think I'm going to leave them there. But they're on my Teachable as well if you're ever looking for extra content. And this is a photo of when I used to work at Disneyland in Tokyo. Sorry, I keep prefacing that. I have never worked in the parks here in California, even though I live 5 minutes down the road. My only experience with working at Disneyland is in Tokyo twice, and then on a cruise ship, the Disney Fantasy. So that's where all my memories are coming from. We did that on a live stream together. Hands up if you were at that live stream. We did all the other princesses too. Where is that journal? It's somewhere. I really liked those. This is another part of the lesson that I was teaching, and I've just put notes, just kind of annotated around it once I was finished. These were also lessons. This is actually how I break down the lesson. Sometimes I put minutes here, and they're very loose estimates. Sometimes they're very strict because I have a really specific amount of things I have to do. But this one was pretty open. And I make notes of certain things so that I can remember to tell anyone that's watching the information that's in my head, because I can't remember everything. I usually teach so intuitively because I make sure that I know exactly what I'm doing before I do it so that I can teach it. But that means sometimes I'm not, it's not a TED Talk. I don't have it rehearsed. So if I've got a piece of information that's like, oh, that's a good tip, I may forget that. So I'll write down good tips to remember to say, and usually just have this taped to my iPad over there so I can see it while I'm teaching. Quickly glance at my notes. These are a couple of the faces that I liked the best from the little face maps. Here's more of that. Little changes I've made to some to make them cuter, or just kind of alter them. This one was a really creepy one, so I kind of put it in the in the crack in the gutter of the book. And then more of the lesson samples. This is relatively unfinished, but there's a few pages like that. Oh, it was 9 days. I should give myself a break. I don't need to be finishing journals in 9 days. It's an absolute bonus if I do. But there's no point to it. Literally, can you hear the justification going through my head, the thought process? I just need to chill out. This is part of the lesson that I taught. This was the final composition, and it was pretty funny because these ended up looking very biblical. And it looked like Baby Yoda was filling in for Noah. But it was a fun lesson to teach, and I said originally I was going to do Miss Piggy, but I thought, oh, I'll give everyone a vote. I'll say, what do you want to do, Miss Piggy or Baby Yoda, which is the child from The Mandalorian? And I got so many votes for Baby Yoga, because I'm assuming autocorrect, but Baby Yoda. So then I ended up doing that, and I'm pretty sure I told everyone you can do whichever one you want, but many people did Baby Yoda. And I thought it was so funny, because I just imagine them all kind of scanned and put side by side, like everyone's Baby Yoda, and this fleet of them just traveling on the high seas. It was, I don't know why my brain went there, but that's what I was thinking. Yeah, it was a really nice little lesson in face mapping and composition. I've tried to work in compositions into my lessons lately because I think it's fun, specifically for people working in journals, to be able to present the journaling just as creatively as the art that you've got on the page. So that was also a part of some of the lesson I was teaching. And this I did on Instagram Live as well. Hands up if you're in that Instagram Live. Little baby Princess Tiana. She's so cute. I love the little ray up in her crown. I really like that, and I'm glad she finally has a home somewhere. So this is what I'm saying, like underneath here, there was lesson work, like demos that I was demoing about brushes and painting, but when I finish the page, it just kind of looks like I've demoed on that page. So I will just glue something right over the top of it, never have to see that again, and now this has a home, because this has just been floating around my desk for months, not doing anything. Alright, sorry, jump cut. I had a massive sneezing attack. I will take that one out. So, anyway, here is a blind contour I did. I actually did this one blind in the sense that I was looking at the page, but the pen that I was using was a Sakura glaze pen. It's a clear pen, so it goes on, you can't really see it, but then when you add watercolor over to it once it's dry, it acts as a resist, so kind of pushed it all away and was this nice reveal of this one. I thought I did that hat really well this time. I was very impressed. And actually, I don't think I even looked at the page. I think I went really slow so that the glaze pen would work, and I was looking outside the window as I was doing it. So this was really impressive that I got that little hat this time. And then revealed it with the watercolor, all these beautiful pinks and purples and orange even, and then I used an orange neon pencil, or pink, maybe both, to kind of accentuate the edges, give it a bit of a glow, and really pop out that portrait. And just journaled over the top, because I'm just really enjoying like these blocks of text all over my work right now. Here is this. We did her on Instagram Live. I've done 2 of these Miss Piggies on Instagram Live now, which is really interesting, but I really love it. Piggy is the only diva. I found this picture of my name tag when I used to work on Cruise Line, so I printed that out and put it in as well. Lots of little bits and pieces here, a lot of collage. Even this was from my Memories to Memento. This was from my travel journal course, but it was a little demo, but I had the little book, and it was such a cute little demo. The one that I actually ended up making wasn't anything like this at all, but it was such a cute little piece. I ended up putting it in here, and that's great because it is the Memories from Tokyo Disney Resort. So it is part of my Disney experience. And now it has a home to live as well. This was done on Instagram Live as well. Some more of these little ice cream people. And journaling. Here is, I think, what was my first ever vertical spread in any of my art journals. My Art Journaling the Magic Golden Book journals. It was really interesting to put it that way, and we, like I said, did I say this before? But our hive brain was really activated because Britt also taught a lesson that was vertical here. So now I have 2 vertical pages, or 2 vertical spreads in the same journal. We'll get to that one in a minute. But this one I used the coloured pencils again, the multicolored pencils, and journaled about World of Colour. because World of Colour has a significant personal kind of attachment to Steve and my story. So I put that in there. This was a big collage page of lots of colour. See how there has the little colour here? That's what I'm talking about, the different things we had. I'm trying to find the stickers. I've used one of these, but we started with adventure, then we went imagination, that's the one that I taught in, and then we had colour, snacks, and this one was friends. And this was the retreat kind of logo. So that's how it was broken up, so that we could separate it, because sometimes they're... And the themes, like, how do I say this? They're themed, but they're more themed for you to pull from it, rather than, like, you have to do everything in that theme. It's more of a really handy guide to get yourself started. Like, not everything is so specifically themed to, like, you know, we're doing imagination, so it has to be about imagination. It's like, imagination is kind of Fantasyland, so what are your Fantasyland stories, or what characters show up in Fantasyland? Which technically here, I mean, you can go all the way through Dumbo, or even the shows at Fantasyland, Mickey and the Magical Map. You could do It's a Small World, so even just an idea that might be even in It's a Small World still relates. It's still under the umbrella of the idea. Does that make sense? It's just... yeah, colour, I mean, that's really obvious. That's just going to be colour. But imagine if I tried to do it in black and white. Just to be different. No, I really like this. These are all character greeting photos from when I used to work on the ship. And it was a really nice place to have those. Just a nice little grid. I've got my faves in there a few times. I met them at Tiana a few times. Chip and Dale, Stitch. Yeah, love that. Good memories. And then... more collage. This was a part of my lesson as well in composition. Just little bits and pieces. These were leftover balloons I had from Brit's lesson. But this little photo down here, see this little red quad bike? This photo was taken the first time I went out in St. Martin and did quad biking with my friend Jen. And we went with her mum, and there was a bunch of us. We all went quad biking. And that was on the island of St. Martin in the Caribbean. That was my Disney cruise contract. So that was the first time we went, and we had such a great day. We were like, let's go and do it again. And the second time we had done that, towards the end of the contract, was when I got hit by the hit by the van off that bike. So this is a really interesting photo, because it does present so much of a great day. Like, it was such a wonderful experience. We all had so much fun. Obviously so that you want to do it again, and now seeing this photo specifically, it literally represents like such a shift in my life. Like, everything was different after that. And so I've tried to like come to terms with wanting to journal about that, just because I hate seeing it. Like, I hate rereading it, or I hate seeing the words, and like it just feels really real. And to be honest, like, a lot of that, I felt like I've just been on pause, and that it's just going to unpause itself. But I know now it's been 5 years. Like, there's been a whole 5-year Hobonichi journals worth of time that's passed since then, and so much has happened since then. And I have obviously grown into this new person, or I'm still who I was, but I've really shaped and changed in different ways that I will never be that person anymore. But that doesn't mean I won't dance, or I won't get to dance at Disney again. So those are the things that I personally think about when I'm going through these journaling experiences, and that is something that I just would never do. Sat with someone at Disneyland eating a churro, you know, waiting for a parade to start. That's not the headspace I would even be in the park. I mean, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I am waiting for a show, or I'm watching a parade, and I'll see someone that I used to work with, even at Tokyo, or like on a ship, and it'll be a lot, because it's like I'm literally confronted with a person that knows me from that life that was that seems so far ago. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't actually actively dive into that. I would separate that and, you know, deal with it later. I think it's called compartmentalizing. Just letting you into my process there. But anyway, so this has been a difficult photo to journal, and I thought, you know what, let me put it in here, because this is color. This is This is fun and celebratory, and there's so much fun, and put with all of these beautiful memories. I mean, it's such a great reflection of how, you know, this one tiny event, this like little photo in a corner here, um, it shouldn't be louder than all of this that happened, which is how oftentimes I do phrase it, or frame it, I should say, in my mind, just to remember to be so grateful for the fact that this even happened, that this would cause so much pain, because, I mean, you wouldn't be grieving a life that you lost that was bad, right? So, anyway, those are more personal thoughts from me, but I thought I would kind of explain it because it doesn't really make sense why it's in there, like a lot of the things that are in here, but that's what journaling is for me. It's a lot of that personal story that gets mixed in with beautiful color and art, because that's also fun, and that's also a way that I keep my brain occupied, to process through things as well. This was a lesson that Trista did. Trista gave us a bonus little lesson on the shaboom that happens when the lights go on in Carsland. Trista loves Carsland. Her Instagram is Carsland Girl, and so I think it was very appropriate. Trista was actually the one that introduced me to this concept. I didn't realize that was a thing that people were celebrating in Carsland, and so we went and did it last Christmas. And there's a photo of us all here that was in the course, kind of with the lesson. So I printed out that photo and printed out the reference, gave it a good go. It wasn't the best, but I still enjoy it. Funnily enough, it led me to journal about the fact that Carsland is the land that I have the most difficulty doing art for, because I don't want to draw the cars. And I had such a horrendously difficult time drawing, what was it called, Willie's Butte? And then even during this, like, I wasn't feeling very confident with it. I don't know what it is, but Carsland really trips me up. I think apparently there's an archway in Walt Disney World that Tangi says is her nemesis. The entirety of Carsland is my nemesis. I just need to focus on the things that I can draw in Carsland and stop trying to do the most with all the rest. Anyway, it was a fun little experience, and even that is something to journal about. The fact that there's still so much for me to try and learn through the Art Journaling the Magic experience. It really is for any kind of level. The lessons are designed for you to be able to pick up your pencil, like, and if you've never picked it up before, and to keep picking up your pencil when you've been drawing for 25 years and you still can't do something. Also, it's very experimental. Like, I don't typically work with neons like this, and it was because we were working with these crayons that I'd gotten from a swap from April that I ended up doing this on Instagram Live. As the resist. So the lessons do come together in a way for you to be able to pull your own personal kind of personal vision back into it. Like, you learn one technique here and one technique here, and then you think, oh great, I'll try it with this, and then that becomes really exciting as well. So I focused on that as well, and obviously in color, I love all the neon. This was I think this was Britt and Tangi's idea combined. I don't know who had said this, but someone had said to use the character stickers and to draw the one-line contour drawings with them. So that is exactly what I did. I take zero credit for this. It was actually just a fun challenge. We had these little square character stickers, which are Disney characters kind of distilled into their most simplified color blocking and shapes or patterns. And so I did their contour drawings over the top. And I'm really happy with this. He's out of proportion, poor little chip. But everyone else kind of worked out. Like, I don't think I could draw Flounder that well if I tried. Or Tigger. And it was kind of interesting because these are characters I never draw. I've done Mike before, but I'm just trying to push myself a little bit. I showed this backwards, but this one is Britt's lesson. We did the Disney balloons, and these are cut out from watercolor paper that we used a resist technique with. I used a masking fluid pen for that one. And then we did the bubbles around, well, the outer balloon, because they're a balloon inside a balloon. And then we did those. I don't know if that page is finished for me. It looks finished, but also I feel like I could add more, but I always feel like I could add more. Anyway, I loved the outside, the cutouts of those balloons, and I thought, well, I don't want to throw them away because there's all good watercolor on there. So I used the inside, or the negative, and did the same lesson, but just back to front. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze again. Sneezes are getting more aggressive. so I'm going to cut them out. Anyway, this is the reverse of the lesson, and I stamped out little faces down here with my 3-faced stamp. But then I ended up drawing over the top of them anyway. They were just a good way to have like little guides to work on top of, rather than drawing out individual face maps. And this is me, and this is Steve. Steve had that bowl cut when he was little, and he's got little Coco ears, and I have little Stitch hat. So just wanted to put us in there as well. I showed you that one, Brit's lesson. And oh, here is my snack lesson. These are the little green alien mochi, or the little green man, from Tokyo Disneyland and Sea. I guess they're at both parks. I taught this lesson how to draw these. And this was also from Memory to Memento, another demo that didn't have a place to live after the course was finished. So I put it in here, and I ended up journaling about just random stuff in here, actually. This was Stella sending us a postcard from Disney Sea, because they give you a special stamp on it. And then my omusubi, the little stickers in here as well. This is the omusubi. This was actually from Memory to Memento. I went through this, but I love these things, and it was so appropriate that we had a whole snacks section, because then I just started going into all the different snacks that I loved. And this is one of my faves. It's kind of like an omelette. It's a rice bowl, but it's like an omelette with tomato rice. Does anyone feel like that's appetizing, or just me? I would have them all the time. I loved them. Cute little breakfast. And then I had, this is actually when I was eating the little green alien mochi. It's cute. It's like a little chewy, mochi is like pounded rice, so it's kind of chewy. It's ultimately like pretty flavorless unless it's flavored. But it's pounded rice, and inside there's a cream, and it's either custard, chocolate, or strawberry. I don't really like strawberry, but I do love the custard and the chocolate one. Custard is my favorite. I loved custard as a baby, and as a child, and as an adult. So love that. That was the part of the snacks. We did kind of a festival of snacks on the last night, which I thought was pretty fun. It was a nice way to continue with all of the creative things that we were doing, but not have to learn something really, really difficult. Because at the end, we had given out so much information. That was also a bit of a different thing. That's different as well. When you're in the parks, we do lessons, but I don't think they're as kind of technique focused or as challenging as some of the things we did here. Like even with Brit's lesson, we don't take scissors to the park, so we're not going to be cutting out all the balloons and making stencils, and we don't even really use rulers at Art Journaling the Magic. So to be doing the gridding techniques was different as well. And then yeah, so it was funny that we ended up doing like very technique driven lessons, considering that in park it would probably be a bit more laid back and a little bit more, I wouldn't say easy, but it would be a little bit more simplified. These were like, there was a lot in there. I know I went talking for ages in my lesson. I didn't shut up. At one point I had to tell myself just to let it go. Like, people have got to go to sleep. No, I had a great time teaching, but it was a lot. But then also the benefit was that there was all recorded. So that's also something, we can't go back like on a Monday night when we do the kind of like the big journal camp at the retreats, and we're doing all of the lessons. We don't really go back to them. We can sit together and kind of revisit some of the ideas throughout the week, but once it's done, it's done. But in the online retreat, there's a replay. You can go back and watch that 16 different times if you need to, and like a year later. So it was, I guess that's another one of those things that you learn to be thankful for in that format. Let me see if this is focused properly. Hopefully. This is my little Mickey Churros page. I was going to teach that instead of the green alien men, but I do like the little green men. And then this was, April had taught us the Mickey burger. What were the treats? It was the popcorn. Brit did the popcorn. I did the green alien man, which was Tokyo Disney. And these were Tokyo Disney as well. But then April did this and was Tokyo Disney. I thought it was just like, it was all coming together at that point. The influences had really rubbed off on everybody, and we all ended up with just the same brain by the end of it. And then we did the candy apples with Danji. I really like those. I hadn't done those before, like a full lesson of those. It's kind of like an Art Doing the Magic staple. We'll get to that in a second. But I really loved this. I love the technique of this. April taught us how to draw the burger. I had done mine a bit more wonky because I just wanted to challenge myself to do that. And then I put me laying down on my stomach eating it. I captioned it "me on the second day of any diet I've ever started," which is honestly not a lie. Where is the lie? So this is April was teaching. Wow, April! My goodness, my Australian just popped out. April taught us how to draw the burger. I kind of separated it and made it really wonky, and then I did this watercoloring and brush pen line work that I really like the style of. So I might teach that style with something at some point. Not the burger, the style, the rendering style. Here is Peter Pan. Like I said, I ended up doing some Peter Pan stuff, which was just so random, but I had my printer and I had my computer and I had my hard drives with all my old memories, so I really let myself go and get sucked into all those memories and ended up printing lots of photos of different times that I've been pirates. I didn't realize I had so much pirate experience. I've got horse experience, I've got multiple horse experience, I've got wolf experience, I've also got pirate experience, multiple monkey experience. I've done a lot in my career. I'm gonna put all that on my resume. It doesn't help for art journaling, but anyway, it was pretty funny to go through and find those photos. These were also little ice cream people that I demoed with my face mapping. That were a part of the references for the face mapping. I love these ones. These are the Neverland Mermaids. That's Wendy. But these are the Neverland Mermaid ice cream people. I thought they're really cute. They're all just working drawings, so nothing finished. And this photo, when I used to work on a cruise ship, we had a pirate night. That's where these photos are from. This one and this one is from pirate night on the cruise ship. And when I was this pirate, I used to have to jump off this ship's smokestack as a part of a stunt for the pirate show, and I had to rappel from there, and it was terrifying. This was the first day I got to the ship and had training, because up until that point I'd been doing it on a cherry picker at a circus school in Toronto, and it was pretty controlled. It was inside. I had all the people around me helping me, and there was big crash mats and everything. This is when I got up to the top deck, and they were like, "Go up there and do what you did in circus school, but just do it here." And you don't realize, but it's a tiny little platform. The wind up there is so strong, and then there's nothing below you except the deck, and you have to just jump. Like, it is. I'm not even good with heights. I'm not good at looking up at heights just as much as I'm not good at looking down at heights. It is just incredibly unbelievable to me that I ended up doing that stunt. I ended up loving it, but I was always just a little bit terrified and excited. I also had to do it mic'd, so I couldn't say anything untoward just in case that picked up. So imagine doing all of that, but then having to stay quiet as you do it. Oh goodness, such an experience. This is, I guess, one of the things I like being in person for, is that we can have lots of these conversations and share stories, because it's a little one-sided when I'm here only sharing stories with you, but I know that everyone that I've had conversations with at Art Doing the Magic always just has the most wonderful stories and experiences, and I love living vicariously through those experiences as well, because we're all from different places, we're from different age groups, we're from different backgrounds, and the way that we all see the same things, or the way that we all even have some similar experiences, just makes me feel really connected to the community. We're pretty good about being on the chat though, and I'll unmute myself a few times during a live stream, I will. But yeah, it's obviously nice to have some of those more intimate moments in person, so that's something I did miss a little bit. In any case, I'm not here to focus on that, but just came to mind. Here's just lots of bits and pieces stuck down because this was a part of a demo for the lesson, so there's not much to see here. Alright, sorry. These attacks are just getting worse. I'm almost finished the book too. Surely I can make it. This is Mindy Lacefield's pre-recorded Jingle Cruise lesson, and I really love that. I love doing Mindy Lacefield lessons. They're such a great reminder to just be childlike in your approach. So something that Tim Burton... anything inspired by Tim Burton kind of reminds me to do as well, but just so fun, so playful, so colourful, and such a great way to loosely tackle animals, since there's something I don't typically draw. I did this with gouache, pencil, paint marker, watercolor, yeah, everything that I listed right here. So it was the Jingle Cruise. It was the Jungle Cruise with the Christmas overlay, and I absolutely loved it. Thank you, Mindy. These are a quintessential staple of the Art Journaling the Magic experience. But I think they kind of... here's the thing, when you do lots of courses, if you're repeating something, sometimes you'll take it out of the lineup after you've repeated it enough. But if you join late, you may have never done it, and this is totally me and the candy apples. I don't think I've ever done any of them. I know I did one on a live stream, the Baby Yoda one, but as a lesson, I don't know if I've ever done the Art Journaling the Magic candy apple lesson. So this was great. I finally got to try it, and I did a whole lineup of things that I was just inspired by through the week. My Peter Pan here, I love that little feather. I love this little lollipop, little Chuppa Chup on the little green man, little green Martian. Miss Piggy, and her big bow, and Maleficent. I don't know why these are the characters that were on my mind this week, but I'm not mad at it. I also tried a different kind of approach with my shadows and highlights. I put blue shadows and orange neon highlights in. I don't know if the neon will pick up, because it doesn't typically pick up on camera, but it's quite a vibrant and fun looking page. It looks kind of spacey, which is interesting because I hate space, but I enjoyed it. It's a nice result. I don't know if it's finished yet, because that's a lot of open space for me, but it might be finished. This I did on Instagram Live as well, the little hitchhiking ghost gingerbread, and then the Alice with the resist. I thought that was really fun. She's really cute. That resist with the neon is so fun with that dark kind of Payne's grey background. I used Payne's Blue Grey by Daniel Smith, Kyanite Genuine, and Moonglow, and then I think I used some Imperial Purple as well around the edges. Or was it pink? It was pink in there as well. I used a lot. But that was a really fun technique. There's more of those character stickers with the one-line contours, Mickey, Donald, Minnie, and Baymax. I did Minnie in the style of, like, you know when she did the Fashion Week thing? But then she ended up looking like the Minnie Mouse in the show that I used to dance in, when she had her big star outfit on. This is coming up towards the end. I put this little page together because I took a photo of me with my my screen and my filming setup, so I can feed through my desk whenever I'm teaching. That was my Art Journaling the Magic experience this year. That was our selfie, so I wanted to at least get that and remember that this is the experience we had this year. Because usually we would get a selfie with everyone. We'd have lots of photos throughout the week, I mean, obviously, but this was my experience this week, so I just had to have at least one of those. I've got some bits to finish over here. And then the other Miss Piggy I did on Instagram Live. I think this Piggy is so much better than this Piggy, but they're different, I guess. This one does look more Miss Piggy-ish. This one looks like straight up pig. So, I don't know. Make of that what you will. But I really, really enjoyed doing this one. I love the style of this one too. I should probably make a note to keep that style in mind for when I'm teaching something next. This is going through some of the options for eyes and snout. And then right at the end, I have my sadness page for my post-retreat blues. I did this on Instagram Live as well. This was the original little sketch idea from my references, but I painted a really big one just so I could remember that I have to remember. Wow, how could I forget? No, but just to kind of commemorate my post-retreat blues. It's a bittersweet feeling. It's a bitter feeling because you don't want it to end, but it's a sweet feeling because you had a great time, so you didn't want it to end. So, you know, it's just one of those things that I thought I would put in there since I'm always talking about it. This is my pocket. I cut up a little plastic bag that came with an order and put my little bits and pieces in here that I want to keep a hold of. These are still some prompts that I have from the little prompts we got beforehand, just to kind of lead into the experience, but I haven't finished all of those. I don't know if I will, but they're still there if I need them. And I still have a folder full of stuff that I could use at any point. Even today, like later tonight, I have the Happy Place art party, so I'm probably going to be back in this journal finishing up little bits and pieces. Whatever lesson we do, I might do it in maybe like stick something over here, or do it in like a little space here, maybe do a little mini version of the lesson depending on what it is. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I'll do that tonight probably, and then hopefully have this all finished. I can't believe it. This is 9 days. Like this whole thing. 9 days ago, this was blank. This is quite a feat, I must say. I know I've been doing the absolute most for a long time now, but I think it's just getting a little bit too extra at this point. I'm gonna have to set some new rules with myself, but I like a challenge, honestly I do. And a lot of it's stickers. It is what it is. I had a really good time, that's all that matters. Anyway, I will just kind of wrap up everything by, I guess I'll leave you on a page. Which one's one of my favorite pages? Because I'm going to chat about something. Alrighty, let's leave it there. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for watching the video and for making it this far. I'm sure it was long. I don't know, I've taken a few breaks, so I don't know what the total length of this video is, but thank you for joining me for this flip today. I hope you enjoyed it. And a huge thank you to Tanji and to all the other parts of the creative team that do a lot behind the scenes as well for putting on such a wonderful online retreat. It was a real personal enjoyment for me last week and even throughout this week as well. And I'm really thankful. So thank you for letting me be a part of that, not only as a guest teacher, but actually as just a student. I know I've talked about this before, but it can be really difficult to find places where you're welcome as a student if you end up knowing too much. And it's a bit of a catch-22. You want to keep learning, but unfortunately you can learn yourself out of the position of being a student sometimes within certain communities, and Art Journaling the Magic is not one of those communities. That's why I love it so much. I would never take for granted how privileged I feel to be able to share in a space where I can just share as myself, not James the teacher, not James the the YouTuber, not James the Instagrammer, not James the teachable online course creator, like none of that. None of those different things that people assume that I am, but James as the person that, 5 years ago was sitting on a couch watching this thinking, what is art journaling? And I just want to give that a go. It's a real privilege for me to be able to still share from that place, because a few years ago I thought that's something that I had lost. And it just turns out that I just needed to find that community. And a big thank you to Britt for introducing me to that community and for really taking me out of my comfort zone there. It's a vulnerable thing to do. I think on a personal experience, I don't want to go into too much of a tangent, but I know I've said this before. It can just be really hard, when you get on here and you think, I'm going to just keep sharing and sharing and sharing. It's all well and good, but in any community, in any kind of work environment or, business environment, I guess I should say, in a business network, it's not always in your best interests to be connected to certain groups or people, and you don't really know that until it goes bad. And it can put such a sour taste in your mouth, and then sometimes you think like, oh, well, I'd just be better off by myself. And it's such a pessimistic and kind of negative way to think, but honestly, if you were really just trying to avoid all of the heartache, it's probably the only thing you could do. And so I found myself at that point a few years ago where I just thought, you know what, I will just stick in my own lane. I will never get involved with anyone ever again. And this has not been fun for me, that idea. I didn't even like the idea of it, let alone the actual feeling of what that felt like. I don't want to be insular. I don't want to create a community that only looks back to me. I just want to be a part of a community that just looks forward to creativity. And so that is something that I'm so thankful for. Beyond all the retreats, beyond all the teaching, beyond all the journaling and everything, I'm just so thankful that there's still a community out there that would let me share as me, and it wouldn't be a problem. And that's a huge testament to Tanji and the confidence she has in what she's actually offering and the mission that she's doing with Art Journaling the Magic. And so I'll give that credit where credit is due. And I think it's it's what I believe in faith as well, that you'll be known by your fruits. And there's just such good fruit in the Art Journaling the Magic community, and that's why I love being there. So I'm going to leave before I get too sentimental on everyone, but it's been a real personal journey. I think you can see a lot of what I was going through the past week, 9 days, has been a journey of self-reflection, not just through the past 5 years of becoming an art journaler, but also through the past 10 plus years of the life that I've been living and the person that I've been growing from and to. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you again soon. It is leading up to Christmas, and I can't tell you how excited I am to get this Merry Mix media on the way. Keep an eye out for more information about that. Until then, I've got to go and edit this video, and I've got to hop on the Happy Place call because this Art Joining the Magic train is not out of steam yet, and I am ready for it. I've missed everyone. It's been 5 days. Now, how many days has it been? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, it was 6 days. It's a huge amount of time to be away from my community. All right, no, I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon if you're on the Happy Place call. Otherwise, I'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.